27 of them. You're good.
All right, who we got? Let's see here. Okay. Outlaw, Tempest, and Bird. How's it going, guys? Okay, so on StreamYard Outlaw, I should have something that says invite guest. So when you click on that, you have to copy the link or go to Gmail or wherever they're at and send them that link. That's how you do it. So the cat's doing good, Bird. He will come home tomorrow. I'm thinking it was a cyst that just popped. But there was like blood all over our living room this morning. My wife got up at 4:30 and she came in and woke me up, and there was just all over our living room, our kitchen. And since it was on his back leg, it just kept bleeding and bleeding and bleeding and bleeding. So yeah. And we had to wait for the emergency place. Well, they take emergencies, but we had to wait like 2 hours before we could even take them. Yeah, he'll get better, Outlaw. And then he's going to have an appointment, follow up with his normal vet here in a week or so. Because they're 1 year. Yeah, I'm hosting it tonight too. For Bird. Otherwise, yeah, he'd have you on because he'll just send you a link and then you just click on the link and there you go. Once you learn, it's pretty easy. I use, I'm going to be using EV Mux, which just does the same thing. So yeah, I'd say at least we've had quite an interesting day today. Spent most of it at the vet. Thankfully, it was open, this place. So, got a sweet new little knife, though. A Higori no Kami knife. Now, there's no lock on these. Use a thumb press to, it's friction held. Yeah, they've been making these from, since 1864. And it has a tempered edge. Handmade blades, there still are. From what I read, there's only one company that can use that name too. And the government, actually, Japanese government set it up where they're the only ones that can use that name. Well, this is more fashioned, Outlaw, like a katana. And supposedly they got bigger blades. I don't know how much bigger. But yeah. The edge is profiled like a katana edge. So There we go. You can see it because it actually has two different metals layered in it. You can see the Hamon line there. Yeah, it's a pretty sweet little knife. It's got a decent edge on it too. Real brass, real carbon blade. And I just made a little quick leather pouch to hold it in. Believe it or not, it's under $30 for that knife. You could get me in for 20. So yeah, it's a pretty nice knife. I like it. Yeah, thanks, Tempest. Yeah, I mean, comes from Japan. You got shipping and everything, handmade. Like I say, you get them for 20. I've seen them for $20. Just make sure it's says Higo no Kami, and that's an official one. Don't know if the camera will pick it up, but you can see the engraving on it, and it actually says certified Higo no Kame on the handle. And then the little thumb rest just sticks up. No, they don't. And as far as like the Tokugawa, yeah, outlaw, well, that was during the Edo period. They were the ruler. That was the ruler right there of the shogun, was Tokugawa. It is. It is. Money is considered their evil. Even though you need to make it in order to live. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But it's a good thing to keep in mind. I mean, it's like some people, that's all they ever think about is money, money, money. It's really not. I mean, you just need to live. That's about it. When you die, you ain't taking it with you. Oh, Murasami? Yeah, he was actually, that's a funny story, actually. That's true, Tempest. Um, Tokugawa was fearful of the Murasami blades because they got a reputation being called the demon sword, supposedly. And supposedly, Murasami himself had a really vile temper. I mean, he was volatile. So he thought him or his family was gonna get killed by one of those blades. So he outlawed him. That's what he did. But it actually turned out even some of his own bodyguards actually had Murasami blades. Because the only way you could tell is either by the Hamon, because he had a very distinct Hamon line that a lot of people to this day can't replicate. It's very, I guess, complex. Or, of course, on the Nikago. Yeah, but unfortunately, all of they're actually not a cursed blade. It was a rumor because he had made so many. That's why so many swords that almost everybody had one. So they all, at one time, struck somebody down. But that's pretty much the story of it, of the Tokugawa Murasami whole thing. Because I do believe Murasami was already like long gone. He might have been dead by then. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think he was. But yeah, he was fearful he was going to be killed by one. and it being known as the cursed blade, or demon blade. A box-shaped hamon. No, I haven't, Bert. Not yet. Yes, you can have your Weibo dreams. No, I would, to be honest, I would love to own a real Murasami. From what I understand from people who have gotten to hold one, say they're almost like not even holding something in your hand. They're super light. He was one of the great craftsmen that just had that touch to make a blade that it just felt like a feather light in your hand. I guess they're really nice. Yeah, that's true, Tempest. That is very, very, very true. And that's the thing. I mean, when you think about it, in not just Japan, but in Europe during those time periods, um, when they used a lot of pole arms, bows, swords, you couldn't just go around and kill people. I mean, because you didn't know if that next guy had a better skill set than you had. So people weren't just drawing their swords, all the time. Oh, we're all going to get philosophical here now. Well, that's the beauty of the katana. They don't really see it a weapon as a destruction and death. I mean, I've said this in prior videos. It can either bring life or they can take it. It all depends on the person who's wielding it. Whether or not they want to draw the sword or not draw the sword. That's what it comes down to. And that goes for, I would say, any swordsman, not just for Japan, Europe too. Well, see, that's the thing. Like, there is no try, only do. We're getting some good conversations in here tonight. Excuse me. Well, you see, that's the thing. The reason why part of the whole Bushido code for samurai, why they don't fear death, and it's, when you think about it, it's 100% true. The reason why they were trained don't fear death because none of us know when that's coming. So it was like, why focus on that? Why think about it? You never know when it's going to be. I mean, they could just walked out of their home and a tree fall on them, never die in battle. So that's why it was taught not to fear death, because it's going to happen to all of us. You never know when. And a lot of that stems from Shinto and Buddhism. Actually, believe it or not, Bird, there is actually documentation, not just in Europe and in Asian like Japan, but in Europe, there's actually historical records where people were struck fatally with a sword or a polearm and kept fighting for another minute, sometimes 5 minutes, just depending on how bad the wound was, and then they just fell over because it's such a clean cut that your brain doesn't register it for a while. And then on top of that, you have all that adrenaline pumping through your body. So some of them didn't even feel it until it was too late and they just right on the battlefield collapsed over. It's not like, kind of, yeah. Yeah. Seriously, Bird, yeah. It's not like a firearm. A firearm relies on brute impact and force. So you would know if you got shot. It's just brute force is all it is. With a sword, even a knife, is designed to push everything out of its way, and it'll do that super, super fast if you have that proper edge. Like when I did this on my pinky when it got me down to the bone, it just really it just stung. That was it. Almost, oh, I would say almost just like a paper cut. That was it. But it got me all the way to the bone. Not sure what you mean there, Tempest. Oh, that sucks, Outlaw. Hopefully it doesn't do it again. Addicted to Blades. How's it going, John? Thank you for the share, too, by the way. Appreciate it. Everyone say hi to John. He's in the chat. So, since we have all swordsmen or people who play with swords in the room, oh, okay, gotcha. Couldn't tell if they did Tempest, if they used anything like that. Of course, you got to figure too. They try to keep a clear mind too. They really emphasize Zen Buddhism, which has a lot what deal with nothingness in the mind, because nothing actually exists. It's all what we perceive in our mind. So I have a question for everybody. There's a theory, I guess you could call it, that some people say the most strikes you can get with a katana is 3. Now, I don't believe that. So, if you were in a bout, a duel, or whatever, how many strikes do you think you could get? And there's actually no right or wrong answer to that one. John 12. You're going up with another opponent there, Tempest. Not a mat. You're going up against another person. Oh, Allah had a good one there. Okay. I mean, it's a good question, isn't it? Because there's a lot of variables that you have to take into account, you know? Yeah. And the skill level, like Outlaw said. Then on top of it, we have to take in consideration clothing. Yeah, just one opponent, John. See, I think, in my personal opinion, I think it would depend. I don't think you could really put a number on it because I mean, all of you had really valid points, like Outlaw, skill level, Tempest. Depends where they're cut. Like I said, clothing takes a factor. If you hit a bone, that's going to slow you way down. I guarantee you that because it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to go through the bone. And even though like live bone isn't as bad for the blade as dry dead bone, it can still damage your edge, extremely damage it, depending on where you hit them. Like fingers, not very much because we have a lot of joints in there. But like the forearm could damage your blade. So a lot of factors going into, in my opinion, you know, I would say it would literally depend. You really couldn't put a number on it, I don't think. And I've even when I've done fencing, I mean, the max I think most of us thought we could get a hit was two. And that's not actually getting a hit. That's where we thought we had an in. Yeah, if you do cut the bone, that's if you go through it, but it's still going to slow you down outlaw because it's a dense material. It really is. And on top of it, you got to take consideration clothing. If you're going through clothing, then you have to go through the flesh, then you get through the bone, and then through that what you went through to begin with, you still have to go through at the end. It's not like you cut clean through the bone and don't have to keep going and withdraw it. You can't do that. It won't work. There's a lot of variables. That's why I always tell people if you get with somebody with the proper safety gear, it doesn't matter what type of swords use katanas or European, try and use the same type of sword and just do a bout. And it's difficult. It really, really, excuse me, it is really difficult. I give kudos to people who do it every day as a sport because it's not easy. No, it's not a great idea. In fact, they really rarely, even in Japan, did they try and cut a limb off. No, that is actually one of the moves, outlaw, is the neck. Fingers, your wrist, cut your forearm, your armpit, um, even stabbing in the armpit if you can. The neck, um, your inner thigh. Excuse me. Anywhere there's a major artery is basically what they would do, or something to slow you down. Basically, yeah, that's after their opponent's on the ground and defeated. That's what the Wagasashi was for. Tagamahali sounds fancy, but it's ain't no L6. No, it's not, Bird. It is kind of a, you could say Tagamahani is a unique metal in itself. They actually call that now jeweler's metal because you actually use it to make jewelry over there too. That would be kind of cool there, Bird. Does JQ do that though? Is it Chinese Tagamahani? Well, you could go for right here where the pectoral muscles are. Because believe it or not, your shoulder muscles run down into that. So it actually interfere with some of your arm movement, believe it or not. Yeah, I wouldn't mind checking that out neither. I think that'd be kind of cool. Now did they put 3 layers in there or just 2 in their Tagamahani from Jakku? Or can you request 3? Because I know you go all the way up to 6 layers inside a sword, and of course that'll be pricey. But it'd be cool to get one just to try one, see how it's like. Okay, yeah, because that's pretty standard. I think is the 3. Sanmai. Yeah, I know what Sanmai is, Tempest. I mean, there's pretty much almost like all EI. They're almost all the same. They tweak their movements. It's okay. We all do it, Tempest. 600 is not bad though. It really isn't. I mean, I've seen more. I've seen other places that do it, and it's way more than that. Way more. Like Swords of Northshire, I think you're going to spend like $900 for it. Of course, their prices have gone up too, a lot. I think it's like for a custom now with them to have them do a custom sword. The starting price I think is $299. I think. Haven't been on their site in a while. Let me see. Check this out. Is it okay? It's $199 now. That Swords of Northshire. Yeah, you would have to have the 5160 for the spine for sure on something like that. Because if I remember correctly, 5160 is a spring steel. and you can't differentially harden spring steel. It would break. That's what was happening when they were starting off with 9260. They were trying to do that and they were breaking. It might work. Yeah, see, Bird just said Dragon King has a T10 and 9260 laminated. So it sounds like you can have it done. It's just you got to find somebody who can do it for you, Outlaw. So basically, the Mune is going to be spring steel. So this backside will be the spring steel, and then your edge, 1095 T10. Because like I said, you cannot differentially harden spring steel. It doesn't work. Yeah, it's going to be expensive, Outlaw. Unfortunately, laminated blades are not cheap. By no means. At all, unfortunately. They're nice. They're really nice to have. They're a little bit stronger, but they always come with a price tag. Yeah. Now I get the two mixed up, so forgive me if I get it wrong. Is that who you got the Naginata from, though? Or no? Because I know both companies start with an R. So I get the two confused. Yeah, the Naginata crappiness. Oh, okay. Well, you could have it differentially hardened as long as the 1095 outlaw is the harder part. So, but that's also added to the price, unfortunately. So mono might make it a little bit cheaper. Yeah, I don't think any of us are gonna forget that one. I mean, it's like, how do you screw up a naginata? It's basically a sword on the end of a pole. I've even heard Hanwei has screwed the shit up. Even on like their Yari, they've messed that one up too. People mess up the Yari, and it's like it's just a pole with a blade on the end. How do you mess that up? It's crazy. On Bird, that was the pole that just snapped. Luckily, he had his hand up right by where the Suba is when it broke off. Yeah, it's just people can't get pole arms right. They really can't. They'll make a great blade or whatever, but they just make the pole trash. It's like, come on. You might as well bird for that thing. You might as well just put a handle on it. Just put a handle on it. Yeah, that is really bad Tempest when you have 2 for 2. Yeah, nobody can ever, like I said, no one can get a pole arm done right. Now, I'm not speaking for European, I don't know. But as far as it goes for like at least Japanese pole arms, everybody screws the shit up. And in 90% of the time, it's due to the pole itself, or they don't do the blade right. So it's like, don't know. Well, if they're just regular bamboo, just take a drill bit and drill it till you get close to the Nakago. Flip it over, do it again. Oh, why did they do that? That was retarded. No, you don't want to do bolts neither. Outlaw. See, there's the problem. Okay, there's another problem. All right, what I found out. Let me turn this over because I covered that side. The reason why they use bamboo pegs is when they first started doing this style with the tachi and the uchi katana, they did use a metal pin. What happened is what you have with that bird. When they got in a fight and it took a blow, it deformed the pin and they couldn't get him out. So you had to destroy your handle. That's why they went with bamboo. Even if they deformed, you could still hammer them out. You can still knock them out of there. So metal pin, no. Because even if you're cutting like bottles and stuff, that pin is taking shock. Okay. Same with if you have a metal pin. And what happens is it starts rubbing on that cargo and it just starts deforming it. You're not going to so much deform the Nakago hole, but you will the pin. So that's why the Japanese don't ever, they always use a bamboo peg. But yeah, yeah, I'm with the Tempest. The more I hear about, the worse it gets. Because even the one I got for my wife from Mishashi, it's got bamboo pegs in it. Yeah, the bamboo does take more shock. It's more shock absorbent. But yeah, they did at first have metal pins, a metal pin in their sword. But when they got in a fight and they wanted to clean it, they couldn't get the pin out because the pin was deformed. That's why they don't do that. They learned that real quick, and like nowadays, okay, everyone likes the one pin tradition, which yeah, is traditional. The reason why they do two now is because even back in those days when they had one pin, yeah, it was convenient to knock it out. You only had one pin to knock out, take the handle off. Now, granted, the ska is shaped perfectly to the Nakago. All right. Nowadays, it's just mass produced. They have to. So they're able to use one pin because it fits so perfect. The problem with the one pin, though, is after a while of if you use it enough, that pin starts wearing. Now, it's very rare, but if both sides shear, that blade is now becoming a projectile. So that's why reproductions use two pins. So if one fails on you, you have the other one as a backup. It's pretty astronomical that both pins will fail on you as 2-1. So that's why reproductions have two pins. It's legitimately a safety factor. No, you're right, Outlaw. Because I've seen some antiques that actually had 2 holes. And yeah, you're right. It is rare, but there were some that had 2 holes in it. I've seen images of antiques that just like that. Because yeah, I mean, it's rare that would happen, but that having one pin, it could shear on you, and then there goes that blade. Yeah, right, Tempest. Yeah, I remember you telling me that, Bird. I would knock that pin out seriously and take a look at it. It might be wallowed or they cut it the wrong way, something. But I would check it out because that's not good. It should not, even with one pin, you shouldn't be able to move that blade up and down. If that blade is moving up and down, I wouldn't even swing that sword until I knew the condition of that pin. Seriously. Because, like I said, if it fails, it is now a projectile. And it's going to be fast when it leaves the ska. I don't know, Outlaw. They might have used 2 pins on it. I haven't actually gone into that one yet. So I'm going to take your word on that one. They could have, though, because the handles were totally different. So you did put a new pin in it, Bird, and it's still getting lit. There's something wrong then, dude. There is definitely something wrong there. Well, Outlaw, your Makugi peg should be a tight fit. See, when I did our DIYs, I found, I think it's a 7/32 drill bit is perfect. Now it's not loose, but it has enough friction when you drive that Makugi peg in, that sucker ain't falling out. Yeah, Bird, I would measure the hole on your ska, then measure the hole on the Nakago. That's my advice for right now on that. Because if you put, yeah, see, 7/32, yep. Because if you put a new peg in there and it's still loose, something's going on. It's either the Nakago or the ska. And that's dangerous. Straight up dangerous. See, these people want to get into the traditional ways, right? Well, they did the one hole for convenience at the time. But like Outlaw pointed out, and yeah, I'll back him up on that. I've seen this on some antiques. Some had two holes. Yeah, it was rare, but some had two holes. Probably because they had it fail on them and they weren't going to have it fail on them again. So, oh, wow. Yeah. So basically, what you're saying, Bird, is you have a cloud hammer you can't even use. Yep. See, even Tempest. Yeah, because I would definitely, especially with you, Bird, you're cutting bamboo. And that's, I mean, you don't feel it in the handle, the shock waves. Okay, we don't feel it, but it's going in there. There is pressure going in there. I mean, that's just physics. So it could just, yeah, that sucks, dude. That really does. That's why I'm not getting a cloud hammer right now because I just don't know about them. Yeah, well, because there's something weird going on there. Birds replaced the pin, and everything's still loose. There's just something weird going on there. I don't know what they did. Could be the Scott. It could be the hole in the cargo. In that case, he would have to re-drill it. Yeah, I remember you telling me that, Bird, because Unabakai shouldn't be top heavy. I could see a little top heavy, depending on where your point of balance is. But like the ones I have, they're not top heavy at all. I mean, it's pretty bad, Bird. 155, and this sucker is nicely balanced. It's not top heavy at all. I mean, it's nice. And this is an Unabakai. So you would think if companies are going to charge a lot of money, they'd make sure that was. I mean, even if they're upcoming, you're going to want to make sure that your blades are done correctly. Yeah, Outlaw. The problem is if you have too much of a top heavy sword, it's harder to control. It really is. I had a sword that was extremely top heavy. And you've all seen my videos where I can cut in short stance and close quarters. I could even control it for that. So when you get something that extremely top heavy, it's unruly. No, you can't, Tempest. So there's a lot of factors when you get too much of a top heavy blade. So the one I had, I got rid of. It's just if I can't control that thing, because then it could be a danger not just to you but to others too. No, they shouldn't. Man, I'll tell you what, my Nagamaki, I mean, that thing is not top heavy at all. Of course, it has like almost a 16-inch handle on that thing. But you can, it's light. It is extremely light. Like my Unibukai from Hanbon. Holy crap, that thing is like nimble as hell. It is. I would say between the two, this one and my Hanbon, this sword is nimble. Okay. But my Hanbon one is more nimbler than this. They did a good job on it. A really, really good job on it. Yeah, I can see that. People love that Raptor. The only thing with that, from what I hear, it's got a wide blade on it. So it's kind of hard to do tricks with it, trick cuts. That's the only thing I've heard. But other than that, people love the Raptor Unibukai. Yeah, because swords really shouldn't feel heavy in your hand, Tempest. That all has to do with the POB, point of balance. It should be closer to the hilt. The farther away is from the hilt, so what makes it feel extremely heavy. Because that's what's going to give you your agility with it. And that even goes with European swords. Excuse me. It should be closer to the hilt. Because, like I said, if it's now, John, do you have their first batch or a newer batch on their Unibukai? No, Outlaw. Nuki does play a factor, yes, but you can still have it where it's nimble, even with Niku in it. Seriously. So as you think that's our first generation in Bird, you got a first generation, didn't you? Because John said his POB is about 4 inches, which is good. That's good. You want about there. If they can get it closer, then that's even better yet. That's kind of hard to do, but 4 is about the norm. But if that's Birds is a first generation too, man, they had a lot of inconsistency on that. So yours is 4.5. That's weird. Because the new Inabukai I have is 4, but it doesn't feel front heavy. Because even at 4.5, even though this is a 1/2 inch more, which is a lot, it shouldn't feel that extreme heavy. I have a couple swords that are 4.5. I'm wondering if they left extra material in that blade, though, Bird, on yours. Because they could have. Because even though it's a Unibukai where they thin the back out, they could have left meat in there. Which still means they had inconsistencies. I'm not sure. I haven't handled it, so. I mean, it's like my Ghost of Tsushima that my wife got me. That thing, wow. It feels like, I am not joking, it feels like you're holding an Unibukai in your hand. That blade is so light and nimble. And it's a T10 blade. It's pretty impressive. It really is. What's up, Joe? Well, I'm hosting Saturday Night Live right now because Bird can't right now. So I'm doing it for him. But Bird is in the chat. How you doing, Joe? No, I'm hosting it this go around because, like I said, Bird is not up to par. So I'm doing it for him tonight. No, but we will be doing a live together again. Don't know if it'll be on my channel or his channel yet, but we are going to be doing a live together again. It's just a matter of when we're going to do it. That's all. So, Joe, I asked everybody this question earlier. There's no right or wrong answer. It's just your own opinion. You're up against another opponent. How many strikes do you think you can get with a katana? or you would be dead. That's a good response. Uh, that's a good one. I like that at the end there. And that is a hard question to answer, because so many variables play a factor in it. But everybody had really good, you know, answers to that. That's why I said there's no right or wrong answer because we really don't use swords against one another anymore. I wish we would go back to using swords. I actually found out too. I do know of actually two countries that still train their troops to use a sword for battle. The Philippines and Turkey actually still train their soldiers how to use a sword. So if they have nothing else, they can use that. Yeah, they train eskrima sticks, but they did train their troops how to use a sword. It's wild. I think it's kind of cool that they do it. Japan, their soldiers learn kendo. And they do issue for I think it's just for dress, kind of like the Marines do, a sword to officers. But I think like how the Marines have the saber for high rankings when they're in dressed uniform, and that's about it. But yeah, Turkey and the Philippines that I know of still train their troops how to use a sword. Oh, wow, that's cool, Tempest. Yeah, that escrim stuff is fast. I've seen videos of it. That's some crazy stuff. I've made my own just out of oak wooden dowels to practice with, to play around with. It's crazy. I don't know. I'm always been a favor and a fan of a sword. Yeah, all militaries do that though, Joe, for knives. I don't think there is any military that doesn't train you hand to hand with a knife. And it's actually my brother. He's actually an ex-marine, and the training that they give you isn't a whole hell of a lot. He's even told me that. He goes, "It's not really like extensive training with it. It's enough to keep you alive. That's about it. You know. It's very, I guess, basic training with hand to hand combat with a knife." At least when he was in, it was. He says you'll learn more if you just go out and learn it yourself from somebody who does it all the time. Yeah, right, right, Bird. Funny thing is, see, like my brother, he owns firearms, of course, and everything. I bought him an Unibukai, like the one from I have from Hanbon. He loves that thing. He loves it. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, I'll take a sword any day. Oh, I can believe that, Tempest. I mean, people think you just pick a sword up and you just use it. You know, it's actually just not that easy. Now, if you're actually in a real battle, are you going to get that perfect cut? Absolutely not. You're not going to have a perfect cut because you're trying to save your own butt. Oh yeah. The only thing that they don't do now, Joe, the Gurkhas, is because they used to have a deal. If they drew the kukri, it had to draw blood. So if they didn't draw blood with it, they would literally cut their arm. Their arm would be all scarred up from it. They actually don't do that no more now. They're kind of like, that's kind of extreme. Let's not do that no more. So they don't do that anymore. That's the only thing that they don't do. But yes, the Gurkhas still, yeah, it is a must for the Gurkhas. The kukri for the Gurkhas is like the katana for the samurai, basically. Yeah, yeah, Bird. He'll do that, and he'll just go. I've been now trying because my wife's getting these little 12-ounce soda bottles, those little shirt guys. Man, you've got to nail those suckers just right, or they just go flying off. They're actually kind of hard to get. About 20 feet. Uh, I think Kingfisher, he told me one time he went to cut a bottle and it flew off across the street to his neighbor's house. Luckily, I have a fence in our backyard and stuff, so it kind of just hits the fence or hits the wall. Like when I was trying to cut first time those little 12-ounce soda bottles, it was hitting the side of the house, and my wife knew right away what it was. In fact, my last cutting video, two of them went flying off. Yeah, they're challenged. Try it. If you get your hands on one of those little 12-ounce soda bottles, try it. I mean, you gotta have that right alignment to cut those suckers. Because the whole bottle, even the center, is kind of hard. We all know the bottom and the top is the hardest part, but that whole thing is kind of difficult. Yeah, we all do it. Everybody does it. I don't know how many times I've done it. See, a lot of people, they always think, oh, cutting a bottle, that's so easy. No, it's not. I mean, it's like we all know the Gatorade bottles. Those are tough. Those are tough bottles. But man, those little 12-ounce ones, holy crap. I saw that, John. That was awesome. I commented on that. That was actually an awesome. If you guys haven't seen John's video on that, go watch it. That was cool as hell, actually. I bet you the small ones are tough. Yeah, Joe, that's the benefit that bird has for his backyard. He's got a lot of room. Like here one time, I mean, our neighbor's like right there. I cut a bottle and I got the top of it, and the cap and everything just went right over the fence and hit his house. In fact, when it hit his house, I just came inside because he came out. Uh, yeah, and that bamboo, like I said, I have cut bamboo, and it is fun to cut. It really, really is. But man, when and I know Bird, you can agree with this. When you don't have that, you could be a little off on your alignment, but when you're really off. You feel it when you cut it. Luckily, I never chipped or rolled an edge on bamboo. I just still have to find those videos where we're cutting it. This seemed before I started YouTube. Yeah, and I was fortunate it didn't happen to me because I could feel it. Yeah, bamboo is unforgiving. It really, really is. But man, it's fun to cut. I have a challenge for you, Bird. When you can, get a piece of bamboo. You're going to have to make a stand for this, dude. Get a piece of bamboo about that tall. Cut that sucker in half. Just like that. Oh, wow. Oh, that's crazy. That nicked your edge. Yeah, he did, Joe. He did a video on it. And no, Tempest, it doesn't care about your feelings. I agree with you on that. Well, see, Bird, it'd be a good challenge for you, dude. Like I said, when you can, you know, it'd be a good challenge. I mean, you got to be spot on when you cut it, you got to be. I mean, no deviation. Yeah, isn't that the one I recommented on your video too, Bird? I do believe the one I rewatched. It was that one, I do believe. That was some nice cuts in there too with that. See, I watch your videos. Well, see, because Joe, that's because everybody makes so many videos. It's hard to keep up with everybody. I can't even keep up. It's sometimes difficult when you get so many, people that you follow, and it's like, oh my god. Well, at least you got that out a lot, and it could have been the chain. Metal on metal, it's unforgiving too. That, and if you had like a razor's edge on your blade, that'll do it too. That's what happened to my Murasami. They sharpened it way too much. So when I cut just simple bottles like this and water balls, it just chipped the hell out of it. Too much of an edge, and there's not going to be anything there to give it support, and it just goes away. Yeah, Joe, we need. I wish I could help you out on that situation for cutting, dude, for you, because I know you've got that itch, and that just where you're at just sounds really difficult. Just to, I mean, like just to go somewhere to cut without anybody getting like volatile, for lack of a better word, I guess. Because that sounds like a really messed up situation. No, I'm not going to be going to Blade Show. One, I can't afford it right now, you know. And two, I would have to take time off, and we have pre-scheduled time off because my wife schedules it for the whole year because she runs a daycare. So she tries to schedule it pre, so all her families know. Yeah, it will. I mean, when I had to fix my Murasami, that took me like 4 hours because I use stones. No, outlaw, he can't. No, he'll probably be arrested. Yeah, he Joe would probably be arrested, and we, you know, wouldn't see him for a while. That sucks. You either got to go to New York or Pennsylvania. Now, granted, granted, Pennsylvania and New York is right there for you, depending on how close you are to either one. But it's still just a hassle, and I understand that. Yeah, you would be on CNN in a heartbeat. 3 hours. Yeah, well, believe it or not, because I'm in California, I can walk around with a katana. As long as it's sheathed and I'm not threatening anybody with it, I carry it all I want. Jersey, unfortunately, guys, see, Joe's kind of like between a rock and a hard place. Jersey has really strict rules and regulations. He can own swords all he wants. He can cut in his backyard all he wants. But the moment you step on the street with one, shit goes volatile. It's just the way it is, unfortunately. I mean, that's where we are. We're in the countryside, you could say. We're in the foothills of the Sierra Nevada. The forest is only like an hour away from me, if that. Depends on how far in the forest I want to go. Yeah, Joe, I actually looked up Jersey laws, see if I could help you out, and I was like, nope, there ain't jack diddly I can do to help you. I don't see any loophole. Uh, oh, that's just, yeah, I feel for you, Joe. Seriously, I do. Which is weird because if you're in your backyard, you can do it all you want in Jersey. Okay, swing a sword all you want. But the moment you step out that front door, dude, you're done. Well, New Jersey kind of has that New York accent too, Outlaw. He just has the Jersey accent. They're almost the same. They're almost the same. But you live in Jersey. So you've been an East Coast boy your whole life, huh, Joe? Which is okay. I've been East Coast or West Coast, sorry. I almost grew up on the East Coast. I was like that close to being born on the East Coast, possibly. I've lived in California, Joe, so okay, my whole entire life. The one thing I really love about California is the weather. Except this year's been really cold. This year's been really, really cold. But normally, the weather here is so nice. It's like Mediterranean weather, which makes it really nice. Well, there goes my back for some reason. That was fun. Yep, Bird, I knew that. I actually have the director's edition DVD with the making of it. That was spooky. You know what the really spooky thing is, Bird? Our other two cats are sitting right over here on the couch. So that shouldn't have fallen down at all. That's okay though, because we have an EMF and my wife's got something called ghost tube. Yeah, we do. We probably we kind of do paranormal shit too. I understand, Joe. Totally understand, dude. Well, okay, so in California, the Bay Area will stay just about almost constant 75. Same with SoCal. When you go higher up, that changes. Um, that's one of the things my mom loved about California was the range that you can go from and the temperature changes here, and they're not extreme because my mom came from Italy, and Italy's the same way. Depending on where you live, the temperatures can stay like 75 degrees year round, even in the wintertime. Farther up you go, though, temperature change, it'll snow and whatever. And she came from the Tuscan region close to the Italian Swiss Alps, so it got really cold and a lot of snow. Yeah, I don't know what, because like I said, my cat's, well, Tom was right here now. She's like looking at whatever it did. Hey, girl, come here. That, and she's been looking for her brother all day because he's at the vet. We don't pick him up until tomorrow. Tomo. Does what happen a lot, John? That it could be, which doesn't bother us. We're into the paranormal, so it doesn't bother us. I mean, it could be my mom or my dad. I do have their ashes, so did samurai, right? Yeah, normally that doesn't happen unless the cat messes with it. Seriously, that doesn't happen unless the cat messes with it. And you can see Tomo right here still looking, and she was laying right over here. Hey, not a problem, Joe. So we go to if you have a humane society too, of course, is you could say a shelter, yeah. Oh yeah, cats can see them, dogs can see them, animals can see them. Animal because animals have a higher sense than we do. I used to, when I was younger, see shadow figures. But yeah, Joe, like I was telling you when I was messaging you, just ask those questions, dude. You know, see, like, because we had to take my wife's cat in, Joe. Um, we had an incident with him. He's okay though. But his sister here has been looking for him. They have a really close bond. They're actually from the same litter. So she's been like, occasionally she goes around looking for them, which I think is kind of cool. They actually look out for one another. Yeah, I don't like snow. I hate snow. We used to live in the snow. We moved down from it. No, no UFOs here. We could have Bigfoot here, but no UFOs. Yeah, I just told my wife that that fell down. She was all ghosts. Are you actually, Bird, a certified veterinarian assistant? Seriously? Oh, there we go. My wife just popped in. Yeah, it probably was that, the heater. Samurai Bigfoot would win outlaw. Well, dang, Bird, we just learned something new about you. That's actually hella cool, dude. That really is. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to jump off of here. And I will talk to you all later. Probably won't be a video up tomorrow because we got to go get Kitty, my wife's cat, tomorrow. We don't know when. Thanks, Joe. Yeah, he'll be okay. Thanks, Tempest. He will be. And you're welcome, Bird. Anytime, man. We just got to schedule in. We're going to go live next time and on his channel. But you know where to reach me. So, y'all have a good night. Stay safe. Thank you, John. And I will talk to you guys all later. Yeah, sorry, Air Power. I'm just getting off right now, dude. Next time, I'll tell you what, I will share it with you. I was just hosting it for Bird tonight, so okay, guys, take it easy.